I'm very confident. You know, we talked about it all week, just the ability to keep them out of the end zone. They're a big play offense, and I thought Dom really did a great job of sticking to the plan, and with the coverage and pressure, particularly there in the red area, with the amount of pressure he's able to bring with the red zone blitz. Keeping them out of the end zone. So they're explosive offense. To hold them under 20, we felt very good about that. We would like to have some point production on offense. That's always the case. But when you put 21 on the board, we're very confident in our defense that we're going to come out of there with the victory.
Mike, what can you say about the performance of James Starks?
James Starks is just a fine young man, very talented young man. He just hasn't played a lot of football over the last 2 years, and that's really been the biggest challenge. And everybody knows his story coming off of PUP, and we've just been trying to get him ready. Had a couple packages in the game plan today for running the football. He established a hot hand early, and I wrote it. So I'm very proud of him individually. Really speaks volumes about our offensive line. I thought they did a very good job playing on their side of the line of scrimmage, and James did a good job hitting the holes and running after the first hit and so forth. Very talented young man. He's got a lot of football in front of him.
Did you also like to be patient at the game where Aaron
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just number one, look where we're playing. I mean, we're playing in Philadelphia. It's a credit to their organization, that the crowd noise, the atmosphere. We did a very good job with the communication. We didn't have the pre-snap penalties. Didn't handle the ball probably as well as we would have liked with the 2 turnovers. But our communication was excellent today. So we knew we were going to have to be patient, take what they give us. They played us pretty conservative from a pressure standpoint. Their third down was more their pressure down. Played a lot of quarters. They played a lot of patience for their defense, and we had to do the same thing. So just did a couple conversions here. We probably had more production, but this is a tough place to play. Clearly one of the tougher places to play in the National Football League, in my opinion.
Is this a milestone for Aaron at all?
Milestone.
There's been that talk out there that you can't win a playoff.
That's what you talk about. We don't look at it that way. I think you know that. I mean, I don't understand why we have to talk about that today. We're just getting started. This is the first round. We've established ourselves as a football team. We won a big football game here in Philadelphia versus a championship caliber program, and we have the opportunity to go to Atlanta. So we're excited about playing the #1 seed down there. And Aaron's got a lot of football left in front of him. He's going to be playing for a long time, and I think those conversations are should be talked about at the end, in my opinion.
Coach, you talked about your ability to contain their playmakers, especially Vick and Jackson.
Well, you can't take them all away, and I tell you, they're dynamic. The week of preparation, just very impressed. The statistics speak for themselves. I mean, just the ability to run the ball, and you just got to keep Michael contained, and that's hard. I mean, he caught us a couple times in a 4-man rush and was able to get out of the pocket, and he's so dangerous with the ball when he gets in space. They did a good job, blocking us up with the 7-man protection or 8-man protection. A couple times going with the two vertical down the field routes. So I thought it was a well-coached game. I thought schematically there's a lot of challenges out there, and I'm sure from your standpoint it's probably a heck of a game to watch.
Coach, you had some drives, a lot of long drives, at least 60 yards, 70 yards, that last one in particular. You had to make some big plays in those drives, obviously. Think about your ability as a team to convert when you guys had to, third down especially.
Well, frankly, that's the way we like to play. I think you have to be able to play in the NFL to win over the long term. We have individuals on our offense that can make big strike plays. We have a quarterback that can stretch the field and make all the throws. But to win week in and week out, you got to have the combination of run and pass, and that was our plan, obviously, coming in here today. So we have confidence in the third and 5, 6, 7 range. Just with our pass protection, we feel that's a strength of what we do, to be able to handle multi-scheme pressure schemes like Philadelphia has. But the ability to keep your defense off the field, especially playing against an offense like that. So I mean, our plan was to come in here and try to establish the run and play in favorable down and distance. Have the patience and take our shots when we can.
First things first, Mike McCarthy, one of the underrated head coaches in football. It sounds funny because he's had success, but that's for sure, because both sides of the ball, they're very buttoned up. Where do you want to start on what the Packers did, Tommy? They ran the ball on Philadelphia with names of guys they've been looking all year for a running game after the injury to Grant right out of the gates. And all of a sudden, come playoff time, look like they found it, Tom.
You heard Coach McCarthy talk about the fact that they wanted to establish the run. I think it goes all the way back to week 1 when they ran the ball against this team for 132 yards. Today, it was 38 carries for 32 carries for 138 yards. So they found something that they liked with their offensive line against the Philadelphia Eagles front that allowed them to be successful. And between Starks and Brandon Jackson, because if you think about how good Aaron Rodgers was when he didn't have a running game, if you can establish something where you get 30 carries, you're able to convert third downs, short yardage with the run game, and certainly Starks was a surprise to me. He looks a lot bigger than they list him. If you can do that, Aaron Rodgers gets that running game to go with he and the wide receivers, boy, there'll be no stopping this offense.
Starks ran for 123. I mean, he was
wow.
Well, you know, we're down, right?
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, now defensively, we've seen a few 10. The Packers are one of the best, the second stingiest team behind Pittsburgh in points allowed. They have a scheme in Dom Capers that you can explain it, talk to better than I can, that A, takes a while to learn, but B, they never fire blitzed, or maybe once or two. They didn't, but it was mixed up. I don't think Philadelphia ever had a feel for, okay, they're giving us a lot of pressure, but I know where it's coming from. And it kept Philly out of sync.
Most teams that are great at the 30 defense, it takes a couple of years to put it in. And I think that Dom Capers now in his second year, the end of that second year, is able to play the 3-man front, the 4-man front. The guys coming off the edge. He's got the great edge rusher in Clay Matthews. He's also got B.J. Raji, the great nose tackle. But you're able to shift the coverages, play a lot of man, a lot of zone. Every now and then you do get that fire blitz. It comes as a surprise to whoever the quarterback is. And I think when you're able to make those kind of adjustments, and I'm not talking about half to half, I'm talking about series to series, it really can be confusing to an offense. And I think that the Philadelphia Eagles clearly today were confused offensively.
Defensively, the Eagles don't match up just defense versus defense to the Green Bay Packers. They played okay. They held them to 21 points, which won a lot of games with that explosive offense that we've grown to love all year long, just as a football fan. But I think, and I kind of watched the Eagles some, it's been a few weeks since they really, it's almost like that great car that's just off. And it's been a few weeks. I know Michael Vick didn't play the last week. The week before he was injured. He played injured against Minnesota, but they were off. So they didn't get that Green Bay has a lot to do with it, Tom. But the Eagles looked off to me, both sides of the ball. They never had the flow. And even David Akers had one of his worst postseason games.
I think if you take out the last 8 minutes of that Giants game, where they were maybe the most prolific offense that we saw the entire year, they never got into a rhythm either offensively or defensively. Yes, Vick completed some passes to Deshaun Jackson, to Macklin, made some big runs downfield, but it never resulted in you feeling like they consistently were doing anything offensively. The protection, yes, it held up at times, and at times it didn't. The run defense, at times they played it well, at times they didn't. I think that as you look for something to hang your hat on during the course of a game, they really couldn't find that as the game went on. And you look at this tape right here, there's just, you know, drop balls, the fact that you had missed field goals, too, by the best kicker, really one of the best kickers in this league. I just think all of that combined, we just never saw them get into a rhythm and find anything that we could say, boy, they did this really well, and they did it well the entire game.
You know, that offense, and I was afraid. It just, forget pulling forward, not a team. I was afraid it was too good to be true, what we were seeing when Michael Vick and Jackson and McCoy and Macklin. And look, I give the Packers a ton of credit, Tom. But I was afraid that it was too good to be true, and teams, good teams, Giants defensively twice, Chicago with Peppers, Minnesota did it. Teams started to get a book. And it was too good to be true, wasn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, you start finding out how you want to rush a guy, which way he wants to flush, where is he going to be more successful once he flushes. You're not going to let him go that way. Getting the hits on Vick. And in physical stature, Vick is a tremendous athlete, but he has a small frame. and guys started to pound him, beat him up. I mean, this was the last time we're going to see him limp off the field this year, but you started to see that the last 6 weeks, the last 4 weeks of the season. Almost every single game, Mike Vick was hurt at some point during the course of the game.
Meanwhile, it's the Green Bay Packers, the team that's moving on. Their next game at Lambeau will be in September. But they got stuff on both sides of the ball that will allow them to be dangerous wherever they go. And that next stop will be next weekend at Atlanta. When we continue here on Primetime, more on the Pack and the Eagles. And, of course, we have an early game to talk about. The Baltimore Ravens tried to show that on the road, well, we're same as we're at home. Kansas City Chiefs playoff neophytes found out the hard way. We'll be back.
Redesigned Power E-Trade Pro. It's like hardwiring the market right into my desktop. Launch my watch list, a popping stock catches my eye. Pull up the price chart, see what the analysts say. As I jump back, CNBC confirms what I thought. Pull the trigger, done. I can even do most of this on my smartphone. Really, it's incredible. Like nothing I've ever experienced. Unleash your investing and trade free for 60 days with E-Trade.
A fully boxed steel frame. A proven Duramax diesel engine. And the same make of transmission found in an M1 tank. Introducing the 2011 Sierra HD, the strongest, smartest, most powerful Sierra, including the first Denali. Never sent a truck to do a Sierra's job.
Taco Bell's new 99-cent Beefy Crunch Burrito. Lots of beefy, add some cheesy, and pile on the crunchy with Flamin' Hot Fritos chips. That's right, it's a deal worth crunching about.
Piranha 3D arrives on Blu-ray in a frenzy.
There are thousands of them.
It's Jaws gone wild. Packs more punch than Saw.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Fun, sexy, and scary. Piranha 3D.
I love it.
On Blu-ray and DVD January 11th.
My name is Jennifer. I joined Match 3 months ago. I thought, why not? You never know. You may meet that one great person.
Nice to meet you.
The world has changed. 1 in 5 relationships now begin on an online dating site.
Do you like 80s high school movies?
Yeah, it's like my favorite.
And when it comes to meeting someone great online, there's only one place to go, Match.com. We've led to more dates, more relationships, and more marriages than any other site. Begin something new today.
I'm hoping I can see him again, maybe tomorrow.
2 superb backcourts go head-to-head, and top-ranked Duke faces a tough test on the road. The action tips at 7 on ESPN, the home court of Wednesday night hoops.
NFL Primetime is presented by E-Trade, Investing Unleashed, and in part by GMC. Vote for the GMC Never Say Never Moment of the Year at NFL.com/GMC.
The Sunday AFC game pitted playoff veterans and road veterans, road warriors, if you will, the 12-4 Baltimore Ravens, at one of the nicest stories this season, the champs of the AFC West, the Kansas City Chiefs, at 10-6. The Chiefs beat the Chargers on the opening Monday night of the season, were never headed in a division they were never predicted to win, or at least by very few, but Kansas City did it by being the leading rushing team in football. But into town came Baltimore. Under Coach John Harbaugh, they made the playoffs all 3 of his years with the Ravens. He joins a short and impressive list headed by guys that started their career that made it the first 6 years. Guys named Paul Brown, you might have heard of him, and Bill Cowher, you might have heard of him. Oh, and the Ravens, they like to try to stop the run. The Chiefs figured this is what we can do, and they're very tough in a sea of red at Arrowhead. Would Baltimore, who now playing their 6th game in the 3 years in the playoffs under John Harbaugh, all on the road with the young Kansas City Chiefs, who haven't won since '93 in the postseason, snap that 6-game losing streak. And Baltimore came out passing. Joe Flacco to Todd Heap, the Storm and Mormon down to the 1-yard line, 13 yards on the play. And then very quickly, it was surprised with how quickly they tried a quarterback sneak, and Joe Flacco was fortunate to get on the ball.
Even too quick for the Ravens.
Now Willis McGahee, he's pushed back by Derek Johnson. Here's Kansas City's defense under Romeo Crennel trying to make a stand. And Flacco hemmed in, looking for Heap. In a heap of trouble, Eric Berry defends it, and big stand Chiefs. They hold the Ravens to a field goal, just 3-0. Now, Tom Bahali played a good game, had a big year for Kansas City, Tom. And it's a fumble. The Chiefs recovered thanks to the defense.
Yeah, great speed rush on Michael Orr. Great job of knocking the ball out. Thought Flacco had it, knocked it right up under his own body, recovered by the Chiefs.
Now 2nd and 4. This is what Kansas City does. Jamal Charles, whoop, and then whoop, makes the move. And guess what? He's gone. Man that averaged almost 6.4 yards a carry this year is gone. 41 yards, 7-3 Chiefs.
Yeah, this good blocking by the Kansas City Chiefs. They create a nice seam, and Charles has that burst that you look for, cuts the ball, get north and south down the football field. You see the miss by Ed Reed at the end. Touchdown, Chiefs.
So that's 41 of Charles's 82 yards on the day. A lot of 8, 10-yard runs, Kansas City. Matt Cancel, Dexter McCluster. But Ed Reed playing with such a heavy heart. His brother, a tragedy involving his brother, makes the big hit.
Yeah, more physical than I've seen him this entire year.
And now Flacco running, and Heap had a huge day. There's a catch for Todd. 2.5 minutes to go on the drive. Flacco, Heap in business again. Heap would catch 10 for 108. And then Flacco, keep it going. And then when you get used to the tight end getting it on 3rd and 2, Flacco dumps it to Ray Rice from New Rochelle, New York, in the end zone, 9-yard touchdown. The Ravens right at the end of the half, like the good teams do, on top 10-7.
Derek Johnson playing linebacker for the Chiefs. Even if you're in a zone, you man concept. Once a guy runs in your area, he doesn't do that. With Ray Rice, it's a touchdown for the Ravens.
3rd quarter, 4th and 1. Kansas City figures we're going to go for it, and this is, wow, a pitch way in the backfield. Kelly Gregg snuffs it out. No chance for a first down. Ravens now starting to stop the run, Tom. Now later, it's 3rd and 26. But Castle figures we got to try something at Dexter McCluster. Ray Lewis. How many big play, Ray? How many times? It's personal, Tom. How many times have you seen him make a big play?
This is picture perfect form tackling. Get the head out in front, get the arms wrapped around, force a fumble. Not his first rodeo.
Leads to a field goal, but it's still just 16-7. Not quite put it away, but the Chiefs abandon the running. And Castle forces to Tony Moeaki. Dewan Landry is there for the pick. Castle will be picked off 3 times on the day. You've seen the fumbles. 5 turnovers in all for Kansas City. Ravens in business. And now comes the hammer. Flacco. Heap. Nice inside the 5. Gain of 13. Anquan Bolden. Such a weapon on the short to intermediate. There he is in the right under the post. 4-yard touchdown, and now it's 23-7, and you're just not going to do it on the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore ball again, 4th quarter. Flacco, Heap. What a surprise, he went back to him. First down, over 7 minutes. Flacco, Bolden, he caught 5. Rice caught 5, Heap caught 10. Willis McGahee. And now the running game gives him a touchdown. 25 yards, a 10-minute 20-second drive that took 15 plays. Ray Lewis, Ravens, Coach Harbaugh doing what they always do. They start in the opening round, they're on the road, and they win again. They're 4-2 in the playoffs. Under him, the Ravens slice and dice the Chiefs by the count of 30-7. Coach Harbaugh on moving on.
The objective was a win. A win. It begins and ends with a win in the playoffs, and I'm proud of our football team for finding a way to get that done. I thought we got stronger as the game went on. That was really the story.
The things that we've overcame this whole year, we knew how hard it was going to be to come play in this stadium, and that's a young, talented team over there who came out in the first half and gave us everything we got. But all year we built for 60 minutes.
We all know that. In playoff football, you can't turn the ball over, and it starts with me. I forced a few balls in there, and it didn't turn out well. And as a leader of the team and as a leader of the offense, I can't do that.
We've made a lot of progress, and we just need to continue doing the things that we know you have to do to really become a consistently good team that can go out there and win some of these games.
It's time. We owe our city a championship. We owe our fans a championship. We got over the first step. Next step is Pittsburgh.
And won't that be a game? Ravens Steelers for the 8th time in 3 years. My goodness. First things first. This game, in the opening games, all won by the Ravens, they forced 14 turnovers. So they just bring the heat, even though they're on the road. And what did we talk about this morning, Tom? Ray Lewis and company said, but we can hear each other on defense.
Correct.
The crowd is quieter. We actually like as a defense playing on the road, which nobody would realize. You can see that they held the Chiefs to 161 yards. Now, this game reminded me some, and again, Kansas City was game and a great season by them, and in no way just disparaging. But this reminded me, if you're looking at Ravens football, of a game they played 2 years ago, opening up at another surprise division winner, Miami, and they snuffed them by a score similar to today. Once you don't, it's more like a bludgeon, wasn't it, as the game wore on, Tom?
Well, I thought that the Ravens really imposed their will on the Kansas City Chiefs. And now the first half, the Chiefs were able to run the ball for 95 yards. They were in the football game. I think they felt that they had a real chance to win. But as the Ravens went to the locker room and made adjustments, they came out, they stopped them from running the ball, and they put all the pressure on Matt Castle to have to win the football game. You have to realize that the Chiefs only had the ball for 18 minutes, a lot of pressure for Castle to score quickly once he had the football. Imagine the #1 run team in football only having the ball for just over 18 minutes time of possession. Now you're forcing Castle to have to throw the ball into tight spaces, down in distances that really didn't complement what he does. Here you see him staring down a receiver. All of the Ravens going to be drawn to the football. Ball sails on him a little bit, tipped off the fingers of the receiver, picked up. Now, this ball actually ended up being turned over back to the Chiefs again. But look again, Matt Castle, the feet kind of a little bit nervous, not really stepping into that throw, backing off the ball. Turnovers killed him. Again, I think that the Ravens came into the game with the understanding, if we don't let them run the ball, we put the ball on Matt Castle's shoulder to have to win the game. It's going to result in the turnovers, and that's how we plan to win the game, and that's exactly what happened.
Kansas City, one of the best turnover teams in a long while, only 14 during the year, made 5 on this day. So, I mean, credit Baltimore with a lot of it. Credit Baltimore. Part of the rub on the Ravens, and believe me, you don't need to apologize when you're 12-4, is a team that had trouble putting games away, even the ones that they won. Now, in this one, they actually kept the Chiefs' defense on the field for just a ton of time, as Tommy pointed out, even though Kansas City was actually stacking up the Ravens' run pretty well, and although the stats won't show it at the end, they stacked them up well in the first half. But a bit of a surprising game plan, I think, for Baltimore in the short and intermediary passing to set up the run for Baltimore. Interesting.
Well, I said that they had to run the ball this morning, and they did run the ball 40 times, but they did it in reverse. They set up the run with the pass. They came out almost exclusively throwing the ball with Joe Flacco. And I think what they did is they caught Kansas City. There's a cushion that has to exist between the linebackers and the DBs where you get the deep drops, you force everything to stay in front of you. You saw a lot of man coverage as well as that zone from the Kansas City Chiefs today. But look, when guys step up and they don't get the depth, or right there where Derek Johnson doesn't lock up, he's in a zone, but it's a man concept once somebody runs into your area. So Ray Rice and, Romeo Crennel used to teach guys in New England, come up through the line, you're in that legal hit area, blast that guy. Watch as the linebackers here drop off the line of scrimmage. You see the safeties where their depth is. You'd like to see these guys get to 12 yards depth. Get there, you see the backer come up, Todd Heap sneaks in behind him. That's easy pitch and catch for Flacco, who has an awfully strong arm. Here the linebackers drop to the goal line, but nothing threatening them. Get a little bit more depth. That ball thrown well to the back of the end zone to Bolden. You'd have to be Kareem Jabbar and Olajuwon to actually knock that one down, to have a chance to knock that one down.
Baltimore, they really have a chance. They're going to Pittsburgh next, and we talk about that a little bit later in the show. But I mean, that's just stand toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring, and they know it. There's no secrets in that one. Just a postscript quickly on the Kansas City Chiefs, because look, this is a team I think Kansas City fell in love with. The Sea of Red was back. They refurbished the stadium this year, and they refurbished the team. Scott Pioli, Todd Haley, and all the management management there, a great bunch of young kids, a lot of whom were brought in by the regime right before that, by our coach Herm Edwards and Carl Peterson and Bill Kurak. What you have is, you know, they're really moving in the right direction. They won a division in which the San Diego Chargers led pro football in offense and defense. I don't know what that stat means, but the Kansas City Chiefs won the division. So, I mean, kudos to them. But in this instance, they were over their heads.
Yeah,
they were over their heads.
Yes. The Ravens are one of those veteran groups. They're used to playing on the road in the playoffs because they've been a wild card now 3 years going. They understand what it takes to win championships. And when Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and company are playing the way they played today, which really is, it reminds me of the way they played a few years ago. They play younger than they are, but they have the knowledge of guys who have been in the league for a very long time. This team going to be a tough out.
And the Ravens giving the game ball to Ed Reed, who used them as their family with his brother Brian disappearing into the Mississippi River on Friday. He played the game. He played very well, and he then went home to take care of family matters. And our condolences to Ed and all those loved ones in the Reed family, part of which are the Ravens family, which he said helped get them through that, an emotional Ravens locker room afterwards. Now let's go back to our later game. Michael Vick at the podium. It was a magical year, but it ended with a thud in the playoffs against the Green Bay Packers.
The last play, we had 4 verticals, and you know, I just took a shot at the end zone. I could have checked it down to the back, and you know, I feel like I got greedy and took a shot at the end zone. And didn't throw the right ball I wanted to throw, and then it got picked off. And it's a bad way to go out, but hey, I went out swinging.
Spiking the ball, an option there?
I mean, spiking the ball is an option, but I mean, you just got a first down. You want to, you know, keep attacking, keep them on their heels, and you know, clock it for what? You know, take a shot downfield. Or do the right thing with the ball. And I felt like I could have checked it down to the back. I felt like I tried to do too much. I got greedy. And I have to see it on film. But, you know, it's hindsight now, and it's just something I got to learn from.
Why do you think it took so long for the offense to kind of find its rhythm?
I mean, well, Green Bay has a good defense. They have a great scheme. They have a lot of good players over there, and they play fast. And, you know, sometimes you come out and you're not going to score points at a high rate. You're not going to execute at a high level, and you just got to keep pushing, keep fighting. And that's why it's 4 quarters in the game.
Do you think ever since the end of the Giants game you ever really got the offensive magic back?
I mean, I think we did some good things out there. I think in every game we played in since the New York game, we did good things. We just, you know, we set ourselves back. You know, we had a lot of penalties, a lot of plays that we didn't make. And, you know, we still managed to make plays and do the right things. We just didn't put a lot of points on the board enough.
Mike, how bad was your ankle, and did the trainers try to stop you from going back in?
It wasn't that bad. I mean, I rolled it, but it was nothing that was going to stop me from going back out in the game.
Mike, Marty Morningway, what's he meant to your development as a quarterback this year? You've been rumored for some other jobs. How much would you miss what he's bringing to you?
I mean, Marty, he's been everything to me. You know, just each and every day we work hard. He's very stern. He's still on top of me and makes sure I'm doing everything that I need to do to progress as a quarterback. And, you know, I know in this league, you know, guys get opportunities. And he's one of the ones who will have opportunity at a head coaching position, I think, and very deserving.
Does the end of this year feel any different than the end of other years because it's such kind of an eventful season for you?
This one hurt more than any of my previous seasons that I played a full season and had an opportunity to play in the playoffs. And, you know, like I said, I didn't finish.
Why does it hurt more?
Because I expected so much out of myself. I knew in coming back and having the opportunity to play the position this year, I could play at a high level in this offense, and it's just disappointing to myself and to my teammates that we didn't finish this year the way we wanted to. And, you know, I certainly feel like I could have done a lot of things better, and I didn't do it. And I guess you just have to learn from it. That's life.
How do you assess
Well, tough way to go out for Michael Vick, but he opened up a lot of eyes this year, that's for sure. When we come back, we'll hear from Aaron Rodgers, the victorious Packers quarterback.
What is your intention?
I aim to kill you in 1 minute.
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
That is ill-advised.
Gonna cut you down. True Grit. Rated PG-13. Now play.
Let's go live right now.
Get the movie that over 350 critics have named one of the best movies of the year. The New York Post raves it's the first great 21st century film. Get The Social Network on 2-disc Blu-ray and DVD January 11th.
There are so many ways to find hotel deals. Ben spends ages searching dozens of travel sites. He just won't let other people help. Jake prefers to have others do the work. He just goes to kayak.com. In one search, the job is done for him. Is it better to do the work on your own? Ask yourself. Compare hundreds of travel sites at once. Kayak. Search one and done.
ABC Wednesday, February 9th.
This morning I woke up at your place. I couldn't find my underwear until I pulled them out of my purse while paying for coffee. And although I did get a free coffee, I need more.
Matthew Perry returns to television.
I see John Cougar Mellencamp is playing here Wednesday night. I'd very much like to make love to him.
I will see what I can do. In a new arena of comedy.
Clowns terrify me.
ABC's Mr. Sunshine premieres Wednesday, February 9th after Modern Family on ABC. Laugh on.
Want to win your share of $1.5 million? Come celebrate Pala Casino Spa and Resort's 10th anniversary. 10 months of giveaways, starting with the Show Me the Dough $150,000 giveaway.
On your wedding day, it's all about the bride. Her dress, her flowers, her hair. But when everyone is looking at her, she'll be looking at you. So rent your tuxedo at Men's Warehouse and you'll look almost as good as she does. You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
You can win your share of $150,000. Play the Show Me the Dough giveaway at Pala Casino Spa and Resort and come celebrate our 10th anniversary with 10 months of giveaways totaling $1.5 million.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime. Presented by E-Trade.
Green Bay Packers moving on, going to Philadelphia, beat the Eagles 21-16. So the Packers, the 6th seed, will have a second date this year with the Atlanta Falcons. They played a superior game earlier this year, won at the gun by the Falcons 20-17. Aaron Rodgers has his first playoff win.
I mean, that was huge. The way that James Starks ran the ball tonight was maybe the most important factor in us winning. I mean, he set up some of the play action that we did. He was, 2nd and 10 run there in the second quarter. I think it was a 30-yard run. I mean, he ran great. I mean, I'm so happy for him. He's a great kid. He's really, I think, grown up a lot the last couple of weeks, and he was big tonight.
Did you think you would have that much success?
No.
Really?
I didn't, to be honest.
What do you think it was going to come down to then? A lot more passing tonight?
Well, I thought I was going to have to play a good game and be efficient. We do a good job on third downs, which we did do a pretty good job. But, I thought we might have a few more passing attempts. But the way James was running, we just stuck with it.
The running back you guys have been looking for all year?
Excuse me?
See the running back you guys have been looking for all year, maybe?
Well, Ryan Grant is the running back we've been missing all year. But, James has stepped up, did a nice job. You got to give John Kuhn and Brandon Jackson and Dimitri Nance some credit for the way they ran the ball this year. But, Coach has gone with the hot guy, and the hot guy today was James. He did a great job.
Talk about how you guys picked up the blitzes and how effective you were, especially.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty did a good job with the declarations and with the adjustments, and I think it was just a pretty good communication game tonight. That's the most important thing when you're playing a defense like that with, so many moving pieces and different blitzes they can bring. We did a nice job of, for the most part, picking them up and being efficient passing the ball. personal level, is it nice to get that first playoff win, if only to never have to answer that question again? Well, all my time being a football fan, I've never seen one player win a game all by himself. So it's a good team win for us, and I'll let you guys write what you want on that. But.
Did you know the defense was going to make that stop on the last drive? What was going through your mind?
Well, I think everybody in the stadium held their breath when Deshaun caught that ball. Being a former Cal player and watching Deshaun following his career and seeing the run he had that really helped us get in the playoffs against the Giants. When Tim put on that ball in the air, I think everybody was just hoping that somebody's going to tackle him. And then when he had another big catch in the drive. He's explosive. That team's explosive, and thankfully Tramon came up with a big play for us, like he's done all season. He's been a Pro Bowl player. Unfortunately, he didn't get the nod, but he's played incredible one-on-one coverage this season, and I'm not surprised he made a play like that.
What was the emotion like?
Well, Tramon Williams, come on, man. The Eagles were saying he was the man. And Aaron Rodgers now joins a nice list, 3 touchdowns or more, and no picks in a playoff game in the Super Bowl area, you know what I mean? Not Lake Erie, Chris. Rodgers joins a guy named Favre. Lynn Dickey, he was good, Tom.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
And Bart Starr, he was really good. Yes, you didn't play against him.
But I know.
Yes. That would be a nice list to be on. When we return, more on the Ravens and the Chiefs, and we look ahead to next week's game when the Bears and the Falcons step into action in the NFC against the winners this weekend, the Packers and the Seahawks. And again, the early game of the AFC where the Ravens laid the lumber. We'll be back on NFL Friday.
Sitting, waiting, hoping. That's not how successful investing is done. At E-Trade, it's harnessing some of the most powerful yet easy-to-use trading tools on the planet to help diversify, identify opportunities, take action. It's using professional-grade research and your brain to seek maximum returns to reach your goals. It's investing with intelligence and cold, hard conviction. You made the money. You should have everything you need to invest it. E-Trade. Investing unleashed.
Winter X Games 15 starts January 27th on ESPN, presented by Jeep.
Used to be, the only thing I trusted to put between me and the mountain was this board. Like I said, used to be.
Been a long time coming. This battle. But we were born here. We like the fight. And our mission is to change the game. Again. Under Armour's Micro G footwear on field today, in stores this spring.
I think he heard us coming.
Welcome to NFL Network's playoff coverage. We have plenty to talk about as the race.
The NFL Draft is officially open.
Here are my NFL.com fantasy projections for 2011. Adrian Peterson's one of my top running backs.
This is NFL Red Zone, where you get every touchdown from every game. Touchdown!
Get the NFL. Anytime, anywhere.
The Tostitos BCS National Championship game. Heisman winner Cam Newton leads the top-ranked Tigers against LaMichael James and the undefeated Pac-10 champion Ducks. Auburn, Oregon. Coverage begins Monday at 8 on ESPN. The National Championship lives here.
Back in NFL Primetime in Philadelphia, Michael Vick, another chapter of his improbable comeback, hosted the Eagles. He's starting a quarterback against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Two teams, 10-6. Rodgers to Brandon Jackson, 16-yard touchdown. And the Packers lead 21-10. Rodgers threw 3. He could have had 4. But the Eagles make it a game. It's 21-16 under a minute to go until Tramon Williams, Pro Bowl level season, makes the pick against Vick, and the Packers are moving on to Atlanta. The Eagles are moving out 21-16. And so the Green Bay Packers, who had to retool as the season went on, really right away, and it took them 4 or 5 weeks, but boy, they caught fire. And funny, it's kind of a game they lost, Tom, that opened up everybody's eyes, that almost, without Rodgers, with Flint quarterback at New England, let you say, well, they have a plan on both sides of the ball. Now they have new toys, don't they?
Well, what you're talking about is that defense that Dom Capers showed against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. But when they lost Ryan Grant, they lost a significant part of their offense in their ability to run the ball. But now, when you think about James Starks, this young rookie out of Buffalo, listed at 6'2", 218, but really feels like when you watch him, it's more like 6'3", 230. He runs with power. He gets north and south very quickly. Brandon Jackson offers a nice change of pace, especially when they get down in the red zone. You saw him score against the Eagles off the screen pass. And then you have the fullback Kuhn, who's kind of a big bowling ball power type. If they have that kind of running game to go with Aaron Rodgers again in this receiving core, that defense, this could be fun to watch going down the stretch.
And with Michael Vick now out of the playoffs, knocked out by the Packers, Aaron Rodgers is probably the best scrambling quarterback
absolutely.
In the league, and the best one left.
Well, in terms of the numbers, running the ball downfield, Vick was number 1, and Aaron Rodgers was number 2.
Go. Well, then,
there we go.
Not probably, definitely.
That's
oh, definitely. Well, when we return, the big boys in the AFC. Tom Brady might have heard of him. Ben Roethlisberger might have heard of him. The home teams next weekend against the Ravens and the Jets. And the most improbable team in the playoffs moving up. The only home team to hold serve. You knew it all along. The 7-9 Seabirds.
Wednesday Night Hoops, 7 p.m. on ESPN.
I can't decide. Guac or salsa? Salsa is a distillation of many Latin and Afro-Caribbean dances, including the mambo. What? Mambo number 5. A little bit of Monica in my life. You gonna be okay for the party? Parliamentary parties compete for seats in the House of Commons.
Call me farm animals. Pig. Animal House.
Food fight!
Please don't.
Decisions shouldn't be that hard. Find the cure at Bing.com, the decision engine from Microsoft.
Five oceans. 7 continents. Whatever it takes. Wherever it takes us. America's Navy. A global force for good.
Nick, start your engine.
They're the perfect team.
We got the meeting.
And best friends.
What if I can't deliver?
But things are about to get complicated.
I just saw my best friend's wife with another man.
This Friday.
I need to talk to you.
I'm bleeding inside. There's blood where it shouldn't be in my body, out of things. Time isn't now, Ronnie.
When it comes to helping your best friend, if at first you don't succeed, try.
Oh, what happened to your face?
Try again.
I'm gonna tell him that he's married to Helen Keller.
Helen Keller?
The girl with all the personalities.
Sybil.
The Dilemma. Rated PG-13.
State Farm Agent Carrie Maddox
Love to tell everyone how drivers can get discounts up to 40%. Your neighbors can tell you too. There are probably some of State Farm's 40 million drivers, so talk to them. Then call a State Farm agent like me.
Call her.
It's game time, and you've only got $5. Taco Bell's Touchdown $5 Box. Get a beefy crunch burrito, crunch wrap supreme, crunchy taco, cinnamon twists, and a nice cold medium soda. The Touchdown $5 Box, only at Taco Bell.
You are watching NFL Primetime, presented by E-Trade.
The AFC Sunday wildcard game, the Ravens at the Chiefs. Chiefs were 7-1 at home, but the Ravens, boy, they don't mind playing on the road in the playoffs, do they? Ray Lewis and company watching Joe Flacco hit Ray Rice. He hit Todd Heap 10 times. Rice caught a touchdown. 10-7 Ravens, the last minute of the first half. Now the Chiefs down 16-7, but unfortunately for Matt Castle and company, a team that turned it over 14 times all year, turned it over 5 times on this day. DeJuan Landry gets the pick there. 3 picks, 2 fumbles recovered by Baltimore, and the Ravens go on to bludgeon the Chiefs in the end by the count of 30-7. And so, with the thrilling win by the Jets Saturday night at the gun, field goal by Nick Folk against the Indianapolis Colts, 17-16. These are the matchups, and boy, do they know each other. Ravens at the Steelers. That's Saturday at 4:30 at the Big Ketchup Bottle. It's only the 8th time they're going to play in the last 3 years. And the Jets at the Patriots. That'll be Sunday at 4:30. And boy, do these teams know each other as well. They split this year as well. And did we say we split? Week 2 at the New Meadowlands. After the Patriots led after the first half, Mark Sanchez, Jericho Cotchery, touchdown, 2-point conversion, put Jets up 21-14. Jason Taylor spins, sacked Tom Brady. David Harris recovers fumble. Jets win 28-14. But week 13 on the Monday night in New England, completely different story. 4 touchdown passes, Tom Brady. Like the old days, the Deion Branch slant. I mean, this was just, they clobbered him. 45-3, and they're going to that very field again. Now, bludgeoning each other. Steelers, Ravens, there are no secrets. Earlier this year, poor Ben Roethlisberger was back. Bats played. Joe Flacco to Hushmanzada, last half minute of the game, and the Ravens win it 17-14. This group's first win in Pittsburgh. However, week 13, nursing a lead. Troy Polamalu had other ideas. Ball gone out of the hands of Joe Flacco. There go the Steelers. And when there's the play again, and Ben hit Isaac Redman to win it 13-10. Do you think they know each other, Tom? Since 2003, including the playoffs, 17 games, 9-8. How about the scores this year? 9-8 Pittsburgh. Look, points,
302 apiece.
Yards within 6. Turnovers within 1. I mean, it's like 2 sluggers going head-to-head. I mean, so this is the game on Saturday. And look, Tommy, there are no secrets. Right? Each team winning by 3 at the other team's park. This time it's in Pittsburgh. The Steelers have had some rest. They know what's coming with Baltimore, but Pittsburgh brings it back. Pittsburgh, the stingiest team in points allowed. The Ravens, the 3rd stingiest team. Mm-hmm. What might separate it? What are we looking ahead to?
Well, that graphic showed it. I think that the Steelers and the Ravens are really mirror images of each other when they hit the field. And if you talk to either defense, the first priority is going to be stopping the run. Who can make one team one-dimensional? Here you watch the Ravens, and whenever we think about, boy, what are the most physical teams in the National Football League? You think of these two. They come to mind. They both are technically pretty perfect. They're going to scrape off the edges. They're going to swoop. They're going to read their keys, which are the guards and the tackles for linebackers. And when you stand up and pass block, they're going to get good depth in their coverages. But at the line of scrimmage, no 2 teams are more physical than the Steelers and the Ravens. You look at the Ravens, and once they get the run stop, now we're going to come off the edges, and we are going to go after the passer. And they both have people who can do it. They both understand now, getting ready to play each other for the 8th time in 3 years, exactly the damage that can be done to the other team's quarterback. You saw Ben Roethlisberger right there with a little bit of a bloody lip and a bloody nose. And here, Joe Flacco, this really the game-changing play of the season for these 2 football teams. If this game had ended up with the Ravens winning the football game, they would have gotten a bye. They would have been sitting at home. That's how close the game was, and that's how close the season was for these 2 teams.
8 times in 3 years. Giants-Eagles did that recently, but it doesn't happen very much. No. And interesting, we remember the Flacco play, but I know he led him to a championship game when he was a rookie. Mm-hmm. That throw that we showed in Pittsburgh is, to date, because it was in Pittsburgh, I thought maybe his biggest one play as a pro.
To Ushmanzada.
Yeah.
At the end of that game.
But we'll see. I mean, with the best maybe yet to come for both teams. And boy, this will be buckle your chin strap for this game. Now, for the Jets at the Patriots, the big question will be after 45-3, and the Jets are moving, and you win at Indy, and that's such a huge win. The Jets, New England has just scored 518 points. That's the 7th highest scoring team in football. They did a lot of it against the Jets, frankly, in that game with 45 points. They obviously go in it with a huge amount of confidence. How do the Jets stem the tide, Tommy, or can?
Well, I think they're playing a different football team. The team that beat them 45-3 really is the one that I think they have to be familiar with as they get ready to play them in the playoffs. That team that they played early on in the season no longer exists. And I think that the thing that you have to really be confident of is putting some sort of pressure on Tom Brady. If you're able to do that and force him, and this is easier said than done, force him to release the ball a little quicker than he wants to. I think, again, a lot of this is going to begin with stopping the run. But look at the window that he puts that in. Ball out of his hand, gets it to Deion Branch so that he can continue running down the field. Here, boy, the easiest route in football. The straight down the field, the 9 route, the flat route to the slot guy. But again, the throw is only 4 yards. There's 14 more yards that he allows the receiver to run to the end zone. And this play I only have seen from the New England Patriots. It's a toss, but the back never moves to get the toss. Brady just lines up and gives it to him 4 yards away from him. And Danny Woodhead, who, oh, by the way, couldn't play for the New York Jets, ends up killing them in that 45-3 win. So I think that you've got to make some adjustments to what you saw in that game. But again, the thing that keyed the Jets all of last year was their ability to pressure the passer, and that has been inconsistent this year.
One thing we'll talk about, and again, we want to overanalyze. We've got a week to do it, and we'll be doing it ad nauseum, is you saw Darrelle Revis just take Reggie Wayne out of the game. What do you cover if you're covering New England? You don't blanket one guy.
Well, that's the problem. You know, he can pick out Reggie Wayne and say, well, we're going to take Reggie Wayne away from Peyton Manning. But who do you take away from the New England Patriots? Is it Deion Branch? Do you let Wes Welker kill you?
But he's in the slot. That's not right?
Both tight ends, when they line up with certain personnel and you try to bring in a package to cover guys, are you bringing in guys to cover tight ends? Are you bringing in guys who can get guys downfield in the seams? They offer a lot of problems, but the main problem is that the guy pulling the trigger may be the best player in this league. In fact, I believe he is the best player.
Well, he'll probably be named MVP in the coming days. And the Jets running game, which looked so good against the Colts, will look good on the road at New England and give Mark Sanchez something to go along with. Some of the things we'll be talking about moving forward. We move forward on NFL Primetime. We'll talk about the NFC games coming up. Lovie Smith, Mike Smith, their teams getting buys. They'll be at home. We'll be right back.
DirecTV now gives you instant access to 6,000 shows and movies at no extra charge. You're gonna be busy. Super busy. Don't just watch TV. DirecTV.
There are so many ways to find hotel deals. Ben spends ages searching dozens of travel sites. He just won't let other people help. Jake prefers to have others do the work. He just goes to kayak.com. In one search, the job is done for him. Is it better to do the work on your own? Ask yourself. Compare hundreds of travel sites at once. Kayak. Search one and done.
A senseless act of violence.
Took one of our own last night.
All new ABC Tuesday.
We'll get this guy.
One detective's personal vendetta.
He killed that girl, and he'll keep going and going.
With the city's most powerful mogul.
Are you trying to blackmail me?
Brings war.
So we got the judges you bribed. We got the politicians you paid off. This is who you really are.
To the streets of Detroit.
Lock down the building.
Shot fired!
ABC's Detroit 187. All new Tuesday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
Biggest ever.
Showtime free preview.
All weekend long.
All new series premiere. Shameless.
Episodes.
Matt LeBlanc. Free.
All free.
Californication. All new.
Twilight Saga, New Moon.
Big Fight. Be there.
Free all weekend.
Hottest premium network.
Showtime.
On demand. All in HD.
Free.
Friday, January 7th. Save the date.
Ends Monday, January 10th.
The Showtime free preview.
One weekend only.
It's big.
On Showtime.
Order Showtime now for as little as $10 more per month for up to 12 months.
Remember when we wished he had a rival? One guy who could step up. One guy. Well, it's not one guy anymore. It's everybody. It's the field. This January, the future of the game begins anew.
The PGA Tour 2011. All month long. Game on.
Interested in advertising your business during exciting cable programs like this? It's easier than you might think. Just call 1-800-4ADS now to learn more.
Welcome back, everybody, to NFL Primetime. And now we move forward in the NFC, where the brackets have now been set with the results. And so in the NFC, the upcoming games are, and when we turn it over, and we will tell you exactly what's going on. The Atlanta Falcons are going to be home against the Green Bay Packers. This was a stellar game in Week 12. Aaron Rodgers with a scramble and a fourth down pass at the last minute to Jordy Nelson, but then Matty Ice in 1 minute lead him down, and Bryant kicked the field goal, and Atlanta won 20-17. So that's to be the Saturday night game at 8 Eastern time. And now the Seahawks at the Bears, and you laugh, it's Seattle. They still don't have a winning record. Back in Week 6, they actually beat the Bears 23-20. Matt Hasselbeck, 25 of 40 in that game, and Seattle ran for 111 yards against Chicago, and the Bears ran for only 61. So, I mean, let's get to look. So here's Atlanta, the top seed in the NFC, and even though they're dome, they're built to run it, aren't they? Yes. And, of course, Matt Ryan has won 3 games in the last 1 minute of the game. One of them was the Green Bay game earlier this year. Yeah, Atlanta very difficult to beat at home. And what they want to do with Aaron Rodgers is limit the number of opportunities that he has to score with the football. They do that with a running game, maybe the most consistent running game in the National Football League. Michael Turner in this offensive line, you'll see him line up in I formation. They'll line up in double tight ends, and they will pound you 30, 35 times, 40 times a game, and eventually, you know, this is old-style football. Wear you down. The run becomes more effective as the game goes on. And then they have an outstanding quarterback in Matty Ice along with Rowdy White to throw the ball and follow it up with play-action pass. And they keep their defense off the field, and they keep them well-rested. The Chicago Bears have won the North, and they've done it with an opportunistic defense. And after that bye week, they really took off offensively with the way that Mike Martz and Jay Cutler kind of understood each other. And they scored a lot of points in a lot of games, yet they lost earlier this year to Seattle. Can it happen twice? Well, you know, I'm not going to pick the Seattle Seahawks to win, but neither did I pick them to get this far. But I think that if you're looking for something for them to hang their hat on, the Chicago Bears really have become, as Boom said, more proficient throwing the ball with Jay Cutler down the field, better protection schemes. But when you think about Raheem Brock and Chris Clemens, the defensive ends for the Seattle Seahawks, thus far 21 sacks between them, regular season and now postseason. That's quite a number for those two guys. We all know that if they can get the pressure on Jay Cutler, I'm going to say that if I'm a Seattle Seahawk, maybe the old Jay Cutler shows up. If we get that pressure, maybe the ball falls out, maybe we're thrown a few, maybe Hasselbeck is as hot as he was in the wild card round of the playoffs, and again, we walk off with a win. And maybe Leon Washington returns punts for touchdowns and not Devin Hester. And now I just have one quick question to ask you, Tommy. All right, so let's just say that Green Bay beats Atlanta. Could happen. We're not predicting anything, right? That could happen, right? Could Seattle beat Chicago? If they do, like everybody predicted, NFC Championship game at Seattle. Just thought we'd give you that food for thought. We'll be back on NFL Prime. Game balls. We'll talk about that. See, I mean, these are things everybody was talking about all year long. Back with the game balls in a moment.
So, Benny, I'm proud of you. Welcome to the 21st century.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're an E-Trade, hunting down stocks, bonds, ETFs.
Oh, I love ETFs.
Look at you. Why don't you show me your portfolio? I'd love to.
I already logged out.
Oh, no, it's easy, actually, to get back. See where it says history?
What, there's a history?
Yeah, it will take you right back to the site that you were just on.
That last site.
Now, cycle complete. The male wildebeest returns to propagate the herd.
Can you forward me this link?
E-Trade. Investing Unleashed.
No competitor looks at trucks the way GMC engineers do. That's why the Sierra is engineered with variable valve timing, active fuel management, and a 6-speed hydromatic transmission. So it's the only truck that delivers over 300 horsepower of acceleration and trailering power when you need it without sacrificing best-in-class fuel economy. The Sierra from GMC. When you never compromise, you have nothing to hide.
Who does this Green Hornet think he is?
Let's roll, Kato.
This city belongs to me.
The Green Hornet's been attracting way too much attention.
This city needs our help. I want the head of the Green Hornet, and I want it tonight. You don't think I'm scary?
2 barrels. 2. That's a very big gun.
Rated PG-13. Conference play is underway as Wednesday Night Hoops premieres first in the Big East.
Wanamaker with the lob and the throwdown. Say it isn't so, Gilbert.
A couple of superb backcourts go head-to-head. Number 5 Pitt versus the 13th-ranked Georgetown Hoyas. Then in the ACC. Top-ranked Duke faces a tough road test against a defensive-minded Knowles. Wednesday Night Hoops, presented by Reese's, part of Conference Tip-Off, 7 p.m. on ESPN, the home court of college hoops.
NFL Primetime is presented by E-Trade. Investing Unleashed. And in part by GMC. Enter the Never Say Never sweepstakes for a chance to win a GMC Sierra Denali at gmc.com/NFL.
All right, Tommy, we get to dole out the game balls. Tee it up.
Mine goes to James Starks, the rookie running back out of Buffalo, a 6th-round pick, 123 yards on 23 carries, gave Aaron Rodgers the balance he needed with the running game.
My game ball goes to a man that played with a heavy heart and laid some heavy hits. Ed Reed of the Baltimore Ravens, who led football in interceptions this year. Well, look, the 2 Super Bowl teams are out. Both number 6 seeds won. The only home team to hold serve was 7-9 Seattle. Quote, Bachman Turner Overdrive, you ain't seen nothing yet coming up in the play.
It's been several months, but the reverberations of a World Series title still echo all throughout the...
Here on